And just like that, we live. All right, y'all. What's going on? Late start today. Um, but that's okay. I was only late because I had a meeting and then I had got home late from the gym because I went this evening instead of earlier. So that's okay because here we are. What's going on today? So just me today, no guest, but we will be live next week, which will be also the week of Thanksgiving. So I'm excited about that. I'm not gonna give away no turkey. I probably should though. Y'all gotta realize. But I gotta get a turkey to give, so there's that. So what's new? A few things is coming up that I'm excited to see. And I hate going live this late because for some reason in the nighttime, whenever I go live or record episodes late in the night, the Wi-Fi at night is always weird. I don't know why it's always like kind of laggy like. But anyway, here we are. So let's just jump right in. It won't be before you long because when it's always me by alone, it's never longer than 30 minutes. So let's just do first recapping this week's episode, last week's episode with my boy Derrick Standifer. All right, so just breaking the fourth wall, that episode, the accountability episode, and how that episode came about was he reached out to me the prior week. I had opened it for Monday, and I just went ahead. He booked for Monday, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna just drop this episode this week. Great episode about accountability and how sometimes you see those people. It was inspired. It was inspired by those videos or those how people just in general who do these horrible things to people, and all of a sudden they done got saved out of nowhere, or they start going to therapy. And listen, as I said in the episode, I am not against that because I've seen people radically transform. But what I do talk about is you're saying all of this, but then you're leaving out, you still didn't apologize for stuff. It's like, oh yeah, I was, I found the Lord, but you didn't fell out with all these people and not atoning for your sins. And like I said, my issue with that is, at least if you gonna do that, you still need to apologize. Even if you might say, I don't want to be friends with you, you don't want to be friends with me, or this relationship not working, the least you can do is still apologize. And a lot of people won't do that. So that's something just to keep in mind. And that was the purpose of the episode, just to kind of go off that. I really like the point about, which is one of the clips I said about how he was like, we don't want to tell our friends that they're not going to be a rapper, or we don't want to tell our friends that they're not going to the NFL at 5'4", and it was just several things that we kept up with through the whole episode. I also liked in that episode how I had my, what is I liked? I liked in that episode just how we just all the facts and the how to go about taking accountability, and just also flipping the narrative as well about saying, what if this person did change, or what if, and the part about the mentor, I agree, and I'm going to reiterate that here. You need a mentor, for whatever you're trying to do, whether it's podcasting, whether it's makeup, whether it's barber school, whether it's YouTube, and you need a mentor. There's somebody who's done what you're trying to do. And I've learned, your mentor doesn't always have to be somebody that you know personally. Sometimes it can be a social media friend. It can be somebody on social media. You know what I mean? It could be somebody that you study on YouTube. So keep that in mind too, because like I said, whatever you're looking for, they can do it. So keep that in mind. That's pretty much it. Certain people I do want to bring back. Now, I like breaking the fourth wall. So I'm going to go ahead and ask y'all, or just kind of discuss, what do you think would be good to do? So this week will be episode 21. And that'll be because I try to have half the episodes, then, like 8A, the first part of the season, the mid-season series, and then part B, and usually a part 2. But part 2 or 8B, also includes the end of the season series within that part, and as far as the numbers, as far as that. Now this season I want to do something a little different. I want to have the last episodes, and then we're going to take a little break and come back for, it won't be season 8 or season 9, it'll just be another series, and it'll be like 4 to 5 episodes. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it back. I already know what it's going to be, what it's going to be titled. I just got to figure out how I want to go about it. Or do I want to just keep it all going, or do I want to take a little break? So that's what I'm deciding. But even once that's on break, and even once it's over, the live stream still be going on. Of course, we'll take a break for like Christmas and stuff because it'll be a lot going on and out of time. And it might be one of those I can get, but we'll just have to see about that. All right. Okay, so today we talking about a few things. So first of all, as you see in the title, we're talking about G Herbo's son on Kai Cenat's live, as well as Jonathan Majors engaged to Meagan Good. So before we get into the first topic, we're going to get into the G Herbo thing first. I thought it was good to see, so I'm about to share my screen so that we can watch this clip, and then go from there because I want to talk about it.
So all you have to do is a little bit lighter. You look again.
What else?
And you use that one.
Okay, thank you. Talk to me. You get sad? Okay, why you get sad, son? You get sad? Yeah. Yeah. My son is really in tune with it. I'm telling you, you're a really emotional kid. Nah, I don't mind.
All right, just a short clip from that. Nothing, it's pretty wholesome. So let's go into, I want to break down some stuff. So let's get into the first thing for today with this clip, which is, what does this have to do with mental health? So when it comes to mental health, what I'll say about this is that I did like was the fact that, G Herbo talking to his son and was like, letting him know like it's okay to cry and it's okay. He said he's very emotional, and that's good to see somebody like G Herbo telling his son, who's his rapper, who come from the streets and come from there, telling his son like, it's okay. And that helps his mental health, because I think what happens a lot of times is, especially amongst Black men, we're told not to cry. We're told suck it up, all these things. And then they get older. And I feel like the fastest way to create a crash out is to tell your son, suck it up, you a man. That is the fastest way to create a child that grows up to be a man that crashes out. That's why we got all these men out here crashing out. And all of them don't necessarily bust out in tears. Sometimes they bust out, in which some people fail to realize that anger is an emotion. So when you crashing out over your emotions from fighting everybody, jumping in, hitting people, short-tempered, hot-headed, I believe in most cases that's from them kids that was told, suck it up, you a man. So it was good to see that G Herbo was telling his son, like, it's okay, let it out. Because he is still a kid. So it'd be different if it was just, reading a speech and you're a grown man and you bust out crying, depending on what it's about. Or because there's a difference between being sensitive and being a crybaby. It is a thin line, just like it's a thin line between love and hate. But that's still a little boy. That's a kid, bro. So if he going to cry over that, he just maybe got him worked up for whatever reason. My parents got a divorce. Granted, I don't think Ari and G Herbo was married, but that could have triggered his emotions in a way to see his parents together and then see them not together. And he might have gotten over it or might still be getting over it. You never know. That ain't for us to know until later on, if they even feel like telling us that. But that's something to keep in mind. What would I do in this situation? So for me, if it was my son and my son was reading a speech and just got overwhelmed and started to cry, it could have been a lot of stuff. It could have been because of the cameras. He liked the cameras and the spotlight, but it could have been the cameras. It could have been a speech that was touching him emotionally. He could have just got overwhelmed, and so to run to his daddy and Gary have his daddy grab him, and how G Herbo comforted his son, like, it's okay, just let it out. That was good to see. And I think that when I have sons, because I'm going to have sons watch, that's something I want to be able to do, to be like, let it out. Now, this is where, you go wrong with kids at, is when there's a difference between crying and being emotional and being a crybaby. So for instance, if the boy started crying because he didn't get his way, that's different. That's when you got to step in like, all right, nah, you whine, you doing too much. But crying over a speech and because you got overwhelmed, and I still believe too, because of the spotlight too, because I've seen, I've been that kid that cried in the spotlight and just got overwhelmed and you just lost it. When I was in preschool, fun fact, I was in preschool and we had to perform a song. And, you know, we had to stand on stage, sing and clap. And I remember it vividly. And I remember clapping. I remember being nervous. You know, all the people standing up, staring at you. Granted, it was like 8 or 9 of us. And I remember standing up, and I remember my mama said, sing. And I was singing, but she like, sing, sing. And I just lost it because, and I cried the whole time because I was nervous, and that just pushed me over the edge. Now, watch this. When I was in 8th grade, same situation, scenario. Going down, it was 8 or 9 of us in the church singing a song. My mama said the exact same thing, sing, which I was singing, and I remember yelling in the middle of the song, so I am. And it was the same reaction, or the same, it was the same. Can I call it the same reaction? It was the same emotional like outburst, just in a different way. The first time I was a lot younger, I cried. Second time I screamed like I am, like, you know what I'm saying? And it pissed me off because you trying to backdoor coach or something you ain't gonna do. And so that kind of bothered me at that time and even now, because it was just like, what are you doing? You know? So parents, if you have kids and your kids are singing, and you know, I get you want to see them do good, but they might be nervous. So just let them warm up into it versus trying to bring it out of them, especially when it's all a spotlight already on them. WWJD, what would Jesus do? So ethically, morally correct thing to do when you see a child being a child is to console them. That is a child. He did the right thing, and I'm glad to see that. Now, this is what I will say. This is where we're getting controversial with G Herbo. It was good to see him in that light because it was terrible how we saw him with the whole Funny Marco thing, him and that other guy. I don't remember the other guy's name on that Funny Marco interview that they did. And he was like basically being a bully. And I think that could have been staged. I think it might have been staged, but still, he looked crazy picking on that man because the Funny Marco was just looking crazy. But again, I don't know because Funny Marco I feel like it could have been a skit. So I don't know. But if he did that on purpose, this is a good way to see him in a better light because Buddy was tripping. Comment and let me know if y'all know what I'm talking about with the whole G Herbo thing. Y'all remember that when on the Funny Marco when he was getting interviewed? And him and that other guy was tripping. And it also goes to show you how fake niggas is. Because that other guy, I don't remember his name, he was cool until his homeboy came around. And growing up around people like that, I've seen that a lot in my life where people be cool by themselves. Like you ever met somebody that was dummy cool, like straight cool as a fan by themselves, and then certain people came around, it was almost like they was acting, like they like almost like somebody hit a switch and it's like they act totally different with you. I've seen it happen many times. And it's almost like, and then it's like when them friends go or that friend go, it's like, was you just acting? What was that about? I had a situation during COVID when somebody I was cool with and this dude used to do that all the time. He would show out in front of our friends. And then when he got by himself, he was cool. Like he straight tried to play me hella hard in front of our friends or whatever. Then everybody started separating. We was about to go home. And he was like, Izzy, come on, let's go smoke. And I'm like, now I don't smoke no more. But I was just like, in my head, like, what? Like, do you not just realize what you just did back there? That's why I'm like, it's like people think that on a TV show or something. And it's like, it was acting. And now, it's, and, you know, all right, the scene, the camera's down, we can be cool. Nah, that's fake. It's fake. WSMD, what should men do? In this situation, G Herbo handled it correct. I don't think nothing is wrong with that. If you think he handled it right or wrong, let me know. But I think that's how you should handle it. And that it's good to see that nobody's just constantly hovering over boy. Like, man, quit crying, you a boy. But again, and those phrases are toxic because you say quit crying because you're a boy, because now you're going to hide it. And like I said, it's just a buildup of emotions. And then that creates kids that crash out, who turn into adults that crash out. They crash out as kids. They get a lot of practice as kids to crashing out, but then they become adults that crash out too. All right, y'all. So I told you we're not gonna be here long, but we got one more clip to watch. We're gonna watch the video off of Extra, where Jonathan Majors proposed to Meagan Good. Now, it's not the video of them doing it, but them talking about it. And then we're going to talk about that after, because I have a lot to say about that. All right.
Love is alive. We need any more proof. Show it to me. Show me everything. Congratulations on this engagement. You are glowing right now. What emotions are you?
I was so nervous in the car way over here.
Yeah.
We was listening to our music, and yeah, it's the best feeling. It's the best feeling. Yeah.
2 engagements. 1 wasn't good enough. 2. How did you do it? To propose. She moved my heart, brother. I just cheating on me. I'm crazy. The lovely way. Amen. 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 Other than this engagement news that's gonna rock the internet tomorrow morning, we gotta talk about Harlem. I picked up. What's your season? How exciting. What's in store for the new season?
Season 3 is fire. Let me tell you that. A lot of surprises, things you're not anticipating with each one of the characters. Can't tell you too much on Amazon. Shoot. Even not for real, because Amazon actually loves me. But yeah.
All right. So then watch the whole video, because we more so speaking on him. So let's get into the first part, which is, what does this have to do with mental health? So now you're probably wondering, why am I asking this question about that? Well, I'm gonna get to the negative first, get that out the way. So I don't know if y'all saw, a lot of people are giving him flack. People have been going in on him, talking about, like, does she not know she Meagan Good, saying Jonathan Majors ain't nothing, talking about like his past with that lady, and apparently domestic, that they said about her, and then trying to say because he ugly. I remember Cat Williams said on the Shannon Sharp, when he was like, when did that type of nigga become attractive? He looked like he looked like my daddy. And Jonathan Majors does catch a lot of hell from how he looks to the situation with Meg, with the whole that case and losing Marvel and all those things. So I think y'all joining in and calling him ugly is not making it no better. But what I can say is he is the living proof, because women do it, but people don't realize men do it too. You get your body together, it don't matter how you look. You look like a totally different person. And think about it. Think about the ugliest person you know. Wait, no, that's not nice. Wait. I take that back. I take it back. See, I take it back. But think about somebody you know who may not be the most attractive, but they got a body. Especially with, I don't want to do that. That's mean. I ain't gonna do that. But long story short, if you are insecure about how you look, get your body together. And sometimes insecurities be in our head. And honestly, even me as a person, it take a lot for me to call somebody to be like to call somebody ugly, because ugly to me means you hard to look at. It's very few people that are just hard to look at. If you think about it, let's talk about being ugly for real. It's very few people that you just like, they're hideous. I feel like everybody can do something. Like, some people need to lose weight. I'm one of them. Some people need to gain weight. Some people just got the wrong hairstyle. Some people just not dressing right. Like, it's just things you can do to make you look like a totally different person. So it takes a lot for me to call somebody ugly, but that's just me. Maybe I'm different. All right, let's go to the next segment, which is, what would I do in this situation? So he's on cloud 9, but it's also more proof, and let this be the lesson. When you're on cloud 9 celebrating something wonderful, there's always haters trying to take you down. Like, this man just proposed to Meagan Good, everybody's childhood, young adult crush. She looks exactly the same. She aging like wine, and everybody mad that they're like, how he get her, not me, because that's really what it is. That's really what it is with Jonathan Majors. These people is mad. These men is jealous. Like, how he get her? Because you've seen that in real life. You know how, like, somebody that's deemed not the most attractive and they pull a baddie, and now everybody hating on them. Like, what he got that I ain't got? I look better than him. And it's like, maybe they got personality. Maybe they got intellect. They both got money, so that ain't the issue. But just even in real life, they got something you ain't got. So clearly, Jonathan Majors got something y'all ain't got. That's why he got Meagan Good and y'all can't get her. Y'all saw y'all on interviews asking, sending out messages to her like, I just like take you on a date. And it's the ones like that, the low key ones, that win. So you see what happens? WWJD, what would Jesus do? The most ethically and morally correct thing to do in this situation. So by him having proposed, celebrating that. I think that the most ethically, morally correct thing to do is to the attacks on his looks and the attacks on the fact that, again, he got he got a baddie and they don't, but somebody he really loves and adores and who was there with him during hard times. I think that he's doing right. Keeping it, I mean, he proposed, that's public, but keeping their relationship as private as possible. I mean, people know they're together, but they don't know the ins and outs of their relationship. So I think trying to keep that as private as possible. I know it's hard being in the public eye, but it's definitely possible to keep the relationship private, you know. And even with Meagan Good, she's really good about that. Even when she was with her last husband, she you didn't really know much about it, which is good. You knew what you needed to know. Finally, WSMD, what should men do? So in this situation, I believe Jonathan Majors is doing right. And I want y'all to let me know, what do y'all think he should have did in this situation? What should he have done? I think what he did was right. I mean, I don't know what else he could have done or should have done. But either way, he winning. He got Meagan Good. And we don't. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Okay, y'all, as we are winding down today, I have to talk about this week's episode. So this will be episode 21. Now, you know, I got, what's I about to say? We have, I was going to tell you something. I got my Thanksgiving special episode next week. But for this week, we're going to be talking about us as adults, but people operating as a child in an adult body. And it's going to be a good episode because we cover a lot of different things. I have another licensed professional on the show who we get to the root of that, because a lot of times we're stuck in childhood trauma and we're stuck in, you know, our memory can be our worst enemy. So we're stuck in those things. And I want this episode to cover that. And we're going more in depth on that. So you'll be able to see that. And if you struggle with childhood trauma, you're a man, even if you're not, but this is still geared more towards men, then you should definitely check it out, because you'll be able to relate. We'll get some tips for you, and we'll just have some good dialogue. So make sure you tune in for that this Thursday, only on PSA, the Mental Health Podcast, on all streaming platforms, podcast streaming platforms, and YouTube as well. So that is all I got for y'all today. He told you 30 minutes or less. We out because I'm solo. Tune in for another live stream on Monday. Tune into the episode Thursday. And that's all I got. All right. PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And remember, I love us for real. Peace.